Welcome to World Social Studies for elementary teachers. This is lecture M1, which is the last lecture in this lecture series, where we'll examine life in structured anarchy. In this last lecture, we'll sum up some of the themes that we've talked about throughout this course and draw some final conclusions. After listening to this lecture, you should be able to complete the objectives listed on this slide. This course has introduced you to several concepts to help you make sense of the world around you. As I stated in the beginning, the value of this study is not to memorize the situation of the world today. The world will change, and such an understanding that you may have today will quickly become obsolete. But as the world changes, the same patterns reappear, and consistent methods can be used to understand the new reality. There have been some overarching themes throughout the topics that these lectures have discussed. So this lecture seeks to draw out some of those themes for your consideration. The first theme is finding collective solutions to collective problems. The world has many problems: poverty, a degrading environment, small-scale conflict that seems intractable. It goes on for generations and decades. But there are many solutions out there as well. The world is much better off today than it was 50 years ago on every single measure. There really is no need to be mired in pessimism just by looking at the world and seeing all the problems that are there, because we are making progress as a species. Things are getting better. Now is not the time to be pessimistic. But to continue making progress, we need a clear, honest look at the remaining problems. Many of these issues transcend borders, so collective solutions are needed. Isolationism, withdrawing from the world, is not an option. So we must instead determine how best to mobilize coordinated action in order to address these complex problems. Another key theme is that as we try to secure these collective goods and protect the global commons, we always run into national interest, and those two values are often at odds with one another. Think globally and act locally. It's a popular slogan, but it's hard to do both when those interests are at odds. Reducing carbon emissions, for example, will undoubtedly bring global benefits, but at what cost to a national economy? Reducing fishing takes would undoubtedly help the fishing stocks to recover from the overfishing that they have suffered. But to do so would undermine the economic viability of those who make their living doing fishing and have for generations in your country. So how do you meet your country's national interests to protecting its prosperity, security, and stability, while at the same time securing the global commons? It's very difficult to do. Another key concept is that of structured anarchy. The Westphalian system remains strong. Independent sovereign states continue to seek their self-interest, but the world does not look like a war of all against all. It's important to look at global debates through the lens of structured anarchy, because that helps us see how nations try to achieve their national interests through cooperation and through the institutional structures that exist to minimize the negative impact of anarchy. Looking through the lens of structured anarchy is a powerful analytical tool for seeing what role is being played by which actors in a given situation or issue. A final theme that is run throughout this course is shifts in the balance of power. The world is not static, and nations trade relative positions throughout history. The Dutch once were the preeminent power in Europe, and the Italians once ruled the Mediterranean. Likewise, the position enjoyed by the United States as the preeminent global power, the unipolar hegemon, is destined to change at some point. This could occur due to the rising wealth of the rest of the world or the collapse of the United States. It could result in a continuation of the great power peace the world has enjoyed since the end of the Cold War, or it could devolve into another great power rivalry. This change is likely to be gradual and will probably not occur for decades. But whatever the future holds, the role played by our country in the world is something worth debating and paying attention to. I hope this course has given you not just the skills, but the desire to engage in that conversation. This presentation and this entire lecture series has been presented courtesy of Dr. Brian Dilley. That's me, and I'm a professor of political science at Mesa Community College.